myself a thumbs up real quick. Because, 100%, my love, you're done. Let me get you on the charger real quick, too. She's taking a break. Are you at 100%? You're at 100%. You could take a break. Do you need to be charged 70? Oh, you can because you got the mic plugged in. We can swap mics before you get to blinking. Hold on. Before you get to blinking, she'll throw me off over there blinking like that. I'm like, oh. All right, hold on. Let me log in. Let me burn this down real quick. Okay. Give myself a thumbs up. Okay. You fine. There'll be a lot going on here when you log in. Okay. All right. 100%. All right. So we're all set with that here. All right. Chapter 9. We are locked and loaded. Go ahead and let my child, you be having to do extra work with that shea butter, honey. I'm like, rub it in, rub it in. All right. Let's get to work. Chapter 9, The Blame Game. We have a quote here by Todd Moskowitz. We'd had a weird conversation where Gucci had said a bunch of stuff that just had nothing to do with anything. I think maybe even hung up on me, which was like really out of character. We never dealt with each other like that. I was trying to process it. And then I saw him, and he was completely not himself. And that's the scariest thing, right? You're talking to somebody who you know and you love, but you're not really talking to them. And you realize at some point you're not talking to them. That's not even like a connection to the person that you know. Oh, ouch. Ouch. I could only imagine. I did everything right. His quote has ended. We're in the book. We're on chapter 9. I did everything right. At least I thought that I did. I took all my meds. I exercised. I ate right. I sleep well. I went to therapy. I did it all. Keisha was pregnant with my baby boy, Ice. So I made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to do anything to mess myself up by the time he came into the world. I didn't get to raise my first son, Keithion. So with Ice, I had vowed to stay on point and do right for when he got here and all of the years after that. If it meant that I had to do all of that stuff every single day to stay on the right path, then I was going to do what I had to do. No questions asked. Keisha was right there by my side to help me stay the course. She developed a routine for me where I knew exactly what to do and when to do it. I knew that I wasn't cured, but I also knew that there was nothing that I was doing that would bring me to a bad place. I was in good shape all around, from my head to my feet. Who knew my teeth would be the problem? Uh-oh. Oh no. Is it the veneers and the anesthesia? I think he said this earlier. I don't know. Okay. It was June of 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. By that point, quarantine had eased up a little bit, but I was able to travel again. I wanted to get my teeth done. So I flew out to Los Angeles to see my dentist. The surgery was to put some diamonds on my teeth. When I got to the dentist, the procedure involved some local anesthesia, which was going to sedate me a little. Now, I knew I couldn't take opioids or anything like that because of my past situations with addiction. Everybody knew that. But anesthesia is a whole other story. Before I sat in that dentist chair, my life was about to change. My record label had been through so many transitions. From 1017 Brick Squad to So Icy, then 1017 Eskimo. And with every change came a new level for me, my music and my artist. But in 2020, it was rebranded as the new 1017. And I was officially partners with Atlantic Records. I had already had my music there as an artist and also my label deal for the artist on my roster. But Atlantic had also just given me a job as an A&R in their A&R department. The job came with the salary, benefits, everything. I was still my own boss, but this was a whole other situation. Getting to be formally a part of Atlantic Records in this way meant that no matter what was going on with my businesses or my music, I had a position there, an actual job. The whole thing was new and exciting for me, but through no fault of my own, I blew it. I was seated and ready for my surgery. They began to administer the anesthesia. Lights out, lights on. I sat up and looked around. Something wasn't right. Dig, dig, dig. Something definitely wasn't right. Those are some nice teeth you've got. Too bad everyone hates you. They ain't fucking with you. You're getting robbed. How does that feel? What are you doing back there? I asked. My old enemy had come back to haunt me. Just here to show you the way. If you want respect, you better go take it. Your phone is in your pocket. June 12, 2020 at 4:44 p.m. 444 is an angel number. But man, was I the devil? I hopped on Twitter again, leaving hashtag Atlantic Records. July 3rd, I tweeted, "These crackers polite racists." Then I hashtag So Icy Summer. I kept going. I told artists to go on strike. I said the labels were racist, burn them down too. I said, keep going. I opened up a new text. Oh, Lord. Look, lights out. What happened? Lights on. Oh, goodness. Over a week had gone by, And during that time period, I had gotten back on a flight from Cali to Miami, still under the medicine fog. It was like, just imagine you so out of it, but you know what time you need to be to the airport, what time your flight leave. It was during that flight where most of the damage happened. And I just kept going and going. By the time I landed back home, my wife already knew I was in a crisis. She had to start administering medicine to me to get me out of the mania. It didn't take as long as other episodes from my past, but the destruction it caused was almost worse. It was short but intense. It had no rhyme or reason. When I finally came to, I had no recollection of what happened. So I had to do something I was afraid of. I had to open up my phone and check my text messages. One text box, 10 people. Oh, Lord. Among those 10 people were Todd Moskowitz, Julie Greenwald, Harmony Korine, Brett Ratner, Brian Grazer, and a few others. These were executives, friends, people I was doing business with, people I wanted to do business with. When I looked at the first couple of messages, I got sick to my stomach again. The things I wrote, I don't even want to repeat here because revisiting what I said makes me too ashamed. I used words that I would never make a part of my vocabulary. Yet, there they were in a blue text bubble. I was threatening people not to hurt my son. I didn't even know where that came from. There were texts to other people in the music industry too. I texted my best friend, Pierre P. Thomas, and told him, "You ain't real. Don't ever effing call me no more." I even text some artists like Drake. I text Steve Stout with 3 words. "You will be embarrassed." Ain't even the word. This is a collection of people, some of whom I had spoken to just the day before, and others I hadn't spoken to in months. Imagine their shock when they saw an incoming text from me threatening them and calling them names. Just terrible. It didn't stop there. When I went to my Twitter account and saw all of the tweets I didn't even remember posting, there they were, retweeted again and again. I kept hitting delete on them, but I kept hitting delete on them all, but I knew the damage had already been done. Those memories of 2013 came back to me, where I went on Twitter and caused a whole lot of trouble. Even news stories referenced how my 2020 tweets weren't the first time I'd acted like this. And they dug up the tweets from 7 years prior. I went over to my Instagram account where I was tagged and posted with screenshots of the tweets. I went to my DMs where P sent me a meme about Black Lives Matter. Quote, "Don't ever send me this Black Power ish again," was my reply to him. P knew immediately from my DMs and texts that I was in an episode. Ironically enough, I hashtagged Black Lives Matter during my Twitter rant, which sparked a whole bunch of news stories about how I was being a leader and addressing the mistreatment of Black artists at their record labels. I think some people thought I was starting a revolution, when really I was having a full-blown meltdown, all because of anesthesia. This was only a few weeks after the death of George Floyd. So a lot of people were speaking out, and it had looked like I was joining them. Listen, I will always stand by the proper treatment of Black artists at their record labels. But to tell the truth, Atlantic had shown me so much love. They really provided me with big breaks I'd never had before. So to do this to them, it wasn't right. I made it look like I was being mistreated by the place that was giving me some great opportunities. On top of all that, a lot of these people were my friends. I loved them, and I said some hurtful things to them. Drake had responded to my text like, "Who the fuck are you talking to like that? I don't know who you think you are." I had to text him back and say, "I'm sorry, I was going through something." He hit me back. Brothers go through some stuff sometimes. I'm glad it didn't completely destroy our friendship, my friendship with him. I'm glad it didn't completely destroy my friendship with him. Because with the things I was saying, it very well could have. It's in those moments that you remember all of the good things people have done for you and how then you went ahead and did this. Drake had shown me nothing but love. He did songs for free for me. He came to my first show out of prison. He even came to my video shoot for Goo Wop Home with Young Thug when I was on house arrest. Him understanding my situation was a gift as far as I'm concerned. Not everyone is obligated to forgive you under those circumstances. I even spoke out against Gucci, a brand that I had taken so long to form a relationship with. In the beginning of my career, when I was using the Gucci name, they weren't too happy because of my criminal record. When I changed my life, we had formed a good relationship. They even did my Woptober 2 album cover in 2019, which was a major step for me. During my Twitter storm, I announced that I had a new line coming out with Gucci and that they'd better not be lying to me. It sounded more like a threat than an announcement. Somebody from Gucci talked to Todd. Why is Gucci saying these things about us? We love Gucci, they said. I had to have a conversation with the head of Gucci and explain that I was having a mental health episode and that whatever I had said, I simply didn't remember saying. They understood, thankfully, and everyone at the record label understood too, but not without consequences. I was fired from my AR position. I tried to talk to Julie about it. Julie, I said, I can't even believe this happened to me. All because I got my teeth done. She felt very bad for me. She knew that I didn't mean what I'd written. And she knew that it wasn't really me behind those texts. But she also knew that she had a label to run. And having someone there who could potentially do that at any moment was not only a threat to myself, but to the employees there. Most of the higher ups at the label had heard about the situation, and the decision was that I couldn't just talk to people like that. If another person had done it, they would have been fired too. So I had to take my medicine. I knew I had to rebuild my relationship with them. And Julie and the other executives were very kind and patient with me through all of that. But it still wouldn't get me my job back. I later told Julie that if she ever received messages like that from me again, to block me. Block my number, call my wife, and keep me blocked like that for a few days. I had to set up some kind of protocol so that she knew I wanted to be proactive. And even though what happened wasn't really my fault, this was one of the biggest regrets of my career. I wish I had known beforehand the repercussions of just a little bit of dental work. When I was back in Miami, Harmony came to see me. He was on that text thread, so he already knew the chaos I had caused in just a short period of time. He wasn't scared of me, but he was scared for me. He didn't want to talk about it. He wasn't hurt by what I'd said, but he was hurt that I was going through something so bad that I didn't consciously cause. Hold on. He wasn't hurt by what I said, by what I'd said, but he was hurt that I was going through something so bad that I didn't consciously cause, and that everyone had to read it in text form. I learned that I had FaceTimed him during that episode. I couldn't even recognize you. He said, your eyes changed, your whole demeanor. I said to myself, this isn't my friend. This is someone else. I knew he had forgiven me, but I told him that I was sorry. It brought me back to a place I never wanted to revisit. One where I had to come back when the lights came back on in my brain and ask everyone else what happened. Or where I had to check the internet and then, even worse, do recon and apologize to everyone. For me, the biggest question was, what happened? You ever see those videos on YouTube where a kid will wake up after being put under for some dental procedure and think there's somebody else? People post those videos all the time for comedy purposes. But in my case, there was nothing funny about it. For most people, it's a temporary thing where nothing too chaotic happens. They feel a little woozy, act a little funny, then take a nap, and they're back to normal. Medical journals have discussed this a lot. There are terms for stuff like emergence agitation, where you wake up confused and restless after anesthesia and don't know what the hell is going on. Sometimes they call it emergence delirium, where you can also have hallucinations after anesthesia. Waking up from anesthesia can have anyone disoriented or acting aggressively. And this can be an isolated event or happen every time. It also depends on the type of anesthesia used. The thing is, most people don't even know that can happen to them until they've gone under and woken back up. It's on a case-by-case basis. If you have a mood disorder, though, the impact of anesthesia can be even worse. It can cause a full-blown manic episode. And that's exactly what happened to me. There's a term for that too. Post-surgical psychosis. That's when the range of symptoms hit after a procedure. The risk for that to happen in people with mood disorders is much higher than for anyone else. And when some people don't know they have a mood disorder, it's in situations like that where they learn that they do. It isn't in illicit drugs. It isn't only illicit drugs that can cause a manic episode in some people, in someone who may have a predisposition. This is a quote, Quote, it isn't only illicit drugs that can cause a manic episodes in someone who may have a predisposition, Dr. Joe later told me. Even anesthesia can do that in some people, just like some psychiatric medicines that are used to help, like antidepressants, can unleash a manic episode in someone who has unknown bipolar disorder and gets manic on an antidepressant. So even that episode looks like it could have been triggered by whatever they use for anesthesia. And there's no way of knowing that until after the fact. I'm lucky. I'm lucky that my friends like Todd, P, and Harmony all sympathized with me and knew that I was a good person and that it wasn't me who was texting them like that. I'm lucky that my wife is so patient and that she sprang into action as soon as she recognized what was going on. And even though I lost a really big opportunity with my label, I'm lucky that one moment didn't fracture my entire relationship with them. But that's part of the daily struggle with me. I had to go under anesthesia again after that time. And so I knew the exact medications I couldn't use. And even so, when I went back under, I had arrangements in place so that I wouldn't do something bad if I had another adverse reaction. I have to stay on point. No more missed opportunities. I do have one thing, though, that I've kept as a reminder. It's the packet of documents from Atlantic Records telling me all about my benefits package. By the time the packet arrived, I had already been fired. This is a quote from Rocco. When Gucci went to jail, me and him weren't really seeing eye to eye. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, that ain't my boy. He's not himself right now. I could see it in his eyes that something went right. I know me and him are better than that, so I couldn't hold a grudge against him. A lot of people saw what was going on Twitter when I would go on the radio to promote my music, and they asked me what was going on with Gucci. All I could say was, man, just pray for my boy. And scene. We'll come back and we'll finish. Remember, we were stopping at Rocco. That was Rocco 203. We will come back tomorrow. We will 204 all the way to the end of chapter 9. And then, of course, we will finish the book tomorrow, basically. Let me just put it that way. We're getting down to the end of it. So in the meantime, in between time, okay,